So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us and listening. I am Rebecca. I'm a chiropractor and I run a clinic down in Brighton and Hove called Back to Balance. And I'm joined by one of my beautiful friends who I'll introduce in a second, Charlie. And I've known Charlie for a good few years now, probably at least 2 or 3 years. And one, I absolutely love her as a human being. And two, we have the same passion and dedication about health, healing and chiropractic. And three, she's getting herself into doing some breath work. And I have had the honour and privilege to have been part of a few of her breath workshops, some physically and some virtually. And I thought it was just really, really good to bring the idea of the breath, of using it as a stress reduction technique, and the importance of breath work and what you can do yourself to help your body heal more efficiently and effectively, to the greater audience and to people who might not have heard about it. So yeah, Charlie, welcome to this Zoom interview. It's my first one ever. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I've got some questions for you, if that's okay, that I want to ask you. And yeah, so I've written some down. So my first question is, why are we having this conversation? How can breathing help us, especially at this moment in time with all the corona stuff and lockdown? How can breathing help us to stay calm, relaxed and connected during this time?
So something which we always talk about as chiropractors is how important the role of the brain and the nervous system is on our health. And obviously, unfortunately, most of us can't get adjusted at the moment. But breathing is a really powerful way that we can have a direct impact on our nervous system. So breathing is the only physiological function in our body which is both automatic and we can also control it. So that means just by being able to have some conscious control of our own breath, we can actually use that to calm our nervous system down. So the three main stresses that we categorize that we can have in our body, which we talk about as chiropractors, is physical, chemical, and emotional. And at the moment, we're in lockdown. We don't have the usual close connections. I can't come and give you a hug, and we can't go and see our chiropractor. We might not be going to the same gym that we usually do. We have so much stress and worry around that our nervous systems are most likely really ramped up right now. So breath work is something that we can do daily to take some of that stress down. So conscious breathing is all about just tapping in and being aware of how you're breathing and how that is affecting your body.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I love the thing that you said, that it can be both conscious and obviously subconscious. We take it for granted that we just breathe and we don't ever think about it. But I mean, how many times when I'm a chiropractor and I'm telling someone to do a stretch or a core exercise or something, and then I go, remember to breathe, because they're even holding their breath, right? And I think everyone can sort of, you know, also say that when they are stressed and tense, they tend to be holding their breath, or they're holding their bodies and postures in a certain way. So yeah, great. Also, do you want to give us a little bit more about why do we want to calm our nervous systems down, in the context of we're in fight flight, people are stressed and anxious? I literally just had a phone call just now by someone who is even scared about going to the supermarkets at the moment. She's in, you know, she's I love her to pieces, but she's, you know, just really, really fearful. And I think, you know, so many people are in their fight flight. What would you like to say about how breath can also change that, and what the importance of that is about?
Yeah, so we were talking about stress on the nervous system. If we do have a lot of stressful things going on, which we do, then that will activate our sympathetic state, our sympathetic nervous system. So yeah, absolutely, that is our fight or flight mode. So our muscles tense up, we release stress hormones, everything becomes tense, and we are designed to respond this way if there is a threat, like if we're going to be chased by a tiger, for example. But long term, that is not good for our body, and it isn't good for our health. So you hit the nail on the head. When we are in that fight or flight response, everything does tense up, and we have those short, sharp breaths. And when we have those short, sharp breaths and we're not breathing properly, it's just exacerbating the problem. So the first thing we need to do is find time throughout our day to pause and focus on how we're breathing, and also taking time to calm our breath down. And by calming our breath down and breathing in an optimal way, which I will show you, then you can actually switch off that fight or flight response. And you can get yourself into a level of deep relaxation, which is much more effective than sitting in front of Netflix and having some popcorn.
Which we like too sometimes, right?
Yeah, of course.
So great. So really we're summarizing and saying breathing is, and if we can calm it down, is like a little hack that we can go from our fight flight sympathetics into more parasympathetics, which will make our brains feel more calm, especially for those people who are really anxious prone, and also long-term help with in terms of health and making sure that we're in more of a healing, relaxing, rejuvenating state rather than fight flight. Great. So we definitely all want to do some more of that, right? So my next question, lovely Charlie, is how can you be more aware of your breathing patterns?
So I recommend doing this as a daily practice. One of the most effective times of the day to do it is in the morning, or if you just find a time of the day, you know, where you're feeling quite wound up, or you're just starting to feel a little bit of stress, then is a good moment to check in with your breath. So how I recommend that you do that is close your eyes, so you're switching off one of your senses, pop a hand on your chest and a hand on your belly, and just observe what is going on with your breath. Observe the rate of how you're breathing, the rhythm, and observe where you're breathing from and whereabouts you're feeling any tension in your body. So you want to observe this without any judgment or without trying to change it initially. It's not usually a very common thing to actually check in with our body. We're busy on Zoom calls and calling people and connecting and doing all our to-do list. Actually just taking the time to observe is really, really powerful. So from then, that is when you would bring in a breathing technique.
Like the one you're going to help us and show us with, yeah? Okay. So where do we start? What techniques can we use then, Charlie?
Okay, so I don't want to give you loads and loads to start with. I will give you 3 which I use every day. So the first one, which I would recommend doing to start with, so I would recommend having a couple of minutes just to close your eyes and check in with yourself. And something which is really nice to do in the morning as well is set an intention for the day. So then the first technique is called box breathing. Have you ever heard of box breathing?
No, okay. I don't think we've done that one together.
This is something that the Navy SEALs do, and to calm themselves down in a moment of attack. So a prime moment, this is something that they would do. And so what you want to do is, again, I would recommend always putting your hands on your chest and your belly, because we should be doing nice, big, deep belly breaths. Actually, 85% of the UK, found in a study, don't breathe optimally. So yeah, that's really, really important. So then what you do is you inhale for 5. So you inhale for the count of 5. You hold for 5. You breathe out for 5. And then you hold for 5. So it's like a box. So you go 5, 5, 5, 5. And just to be clear, you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Okay, should we try one?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So you inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do one more. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, that was really easy and really
So
nice. Slow breathing down, think about it. It's nice. It didn't feel like I was getting out of breath.
no, so it should be calm and relaxed. So you can make the box as big as you like. You could do a count of 6, you could do a count of 7. But it needs to be nice and methodical. And I would recommend putting a timer on your phone so you're not worrying. Do that for 5 minutes. It's amazing the difference that you'll feel after having that 5 minutes of consciously breathing at a rate that you've chosen.
Yeah, nice. And 5 minutes is like, it's super easy, generally speaking. Harder for obviously parents and mums and homeschooling and stuff like that. But I think for these peeps, it's probably even more important just if they can take 5 minutes out, you know, possibly even more important than going crazy for an hour Joe Wicks on the, you know, but I love Joe Wicks, right? I do his class. But just breathing and connecting just for 5 minutes and just lowering oneself and reconnecting, I think is really powerful, and especially for our mental health at the moment. Great, Charlie. Any other techniques?
Yeah, so another technique which I would recommend is, I call it the energizing breath. Because again, something which is happening at the moment is we're spending so much time on our screens. And I don't know about you, I'm doing an online yoga class, and then I'm doing an online course, and then I'm doing my CPD, and our energy tends to get dissipated throughout the day quite quickly. And that can lead us to become quite stressed. So something which I like to do just to re-energize and refocus is this little technique. So let me show you my belly. So your diaphragm is your primary breathing muscle. Did you know that? Yeah, you're a chiropractor. So you want to be breathing from your diaphragm. So this is going to work this really well. So how you start this breath, just so you get into the rhythm, is you pat like a dog. So start with your mouth just to get the rhythm. Okay, so like this. So again, remember you're using your diaphragm. Okay, there we go. Like that.
So am I sort of trying to contract my tummy? Like in yoga, we tend to sort of suck the tummy in without thinking about the breath coming in. Does that make sense?
So you're just doing short, sharp bursts of breath, and you use your diaphragm to push the air in and out like this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And normally then the breath in is a bit automatic, right? Because when you breathe out, you then have to breathe in.
Yeah, so again, it shouldn't feel too stressful.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you only do this, I would recommend doing this for a minute at a time. Okay. I do a minute at a time. After each minute, I do a clearing breath, which is just, and I would do that 3 times.
Okay. So minute panting, and then...
Yeah, so we do the panting to get the rhythm, then we do it through the nose. Okay, so same thing with the diaphragm.
Yeah. Okay. So keep your mouth closed.
Through the nose. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's crazy the amount of energy it gives you. And so again, because most of us don't tend to breathe optimally throughout the day, we don't always get the levels of oxygen that we need in our body. So it's a really powerful way just to get some short, sharp bursts of energy into our system.
Nice. So that's sort of 3 things that you wanted to give us, yes?
No, I've given you 2.
Oh, I counted this one as just recentering and your intention as 1. Sorry, yeah. Dr. Charlie. Tell me the 3rd one.
Okay, so the last one which I would recommend is breath holds. So that's something which I've done with you on breathwork journeys.
Yep.
So again, this is a great way to saturate your cells with oxygen and get so much more oxygen into our body. It makes us feel really good. Have you noticed that when you hold your breath, you can't think? Have you ever noticed that?
Yes. I didn't think about it. Now I think about it, yeah.
So holding your breath is a really nice way to stop thinking for a moment, just to get rid of all the thoughts in our head.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So something else which I would recommend doing, so say it's your morning routine, become aware of your breath, box breathing. We can do some energizing breaths, and then I would do some breath holds. Okay. So how you would do that is always start with a clearing breath. So make sure you're nice and relaxed. And then you take a breath in through your nose, all the way up, hold. And then you want to do something called closing your root lock. So what you would do is you squeeze your pelvic floor muscles and you just bring your neck down. So you're locking in the air. Okay. So we hold that for as long as we comfortably can. And then what we will do is release it through our mouth when we're ready. Okay. So I would recommend doing 10 of these in a row if you can. Obviously, the whole point of all this breath work is to calm your nervous system down. So everything should be done in a relaxed manner, not stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm about to, die or explode or something like that.
No, I don't know.
Okay, great. So then there's the initial centering, intention, just becoming aware, and then the 3 different breath work that you quite like to do in that order.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And are there any apps, resources out there that you would recommend for anyone who wanted to do a bit of breath work? Anything you want to tell our listeners?
Yeah, definitely. So those tips are things which I would do day to day. Something which I would definitely recommend doing once a week if you can is doing a breathwork journey. So this is where you go a bit deeper into breathing, and it's really powerful at releasing emotions. We tend to carry a lot of emotion in our bodies, and we tend to carry a lot of tension there. So by going deeper into the breathwork, we can release a lot of things, and that can be really powerful. So I do breathwork journeys. I'm doing them every Saturday at 5 p.m. at the moment.
Nice.
They're free, kids are welcome. I start with a little dance just to make it fun. And then I guide people through the breathwork. That's totally free.
Yeah.
You're also very welcome to follow me on Instagram. There will be some breathwork videos on there. So I'll follow up all of these tips with some videos.
Yeah.
I love Wim Hof. You know Wim Hof?
I keep meaning to do a workshop because he actually was doing one down here in Brighton. But I think it clashed with something else, but it's definitely on my radar to try it. Do you want to just sort of, because we don't have too much longer, but do you want to just sort of summarize Wim Hof stuff?
So he's quite an eccentric man, but he's lovely. And he talks about how through cold therapy and breath work, you can boost your immune system. And he talks about all the health benefits that doing these activities daily can have. And they had a profound impact on this man's life. So this man lost his wife when he was quite young, and he had 4 children to bring up. So he became passionate about finding ways that you can hack your nervous system. So he has loads of resources. He has some guided breathing videos. He has a little quarantine schedule. So if you follow him on Instagram, Facebook, he's got loads of resources on there. There's also a great book which I would recommend if you're more interested in learning more. There's a man called Dan Rule. I'll make sure you get a copy of these.
Yeah, and then we can give it out to all our listeners and stuff.
Yeah, so there's loads of stuff out there.
Okay, nice. And you said that you love your Instagram. What's your Instagram handle or whatever it's called?
I know. So it's DC.
Yeah.
Charlie Moult. So.
Okay. So just your name. Okay, cool. So we'll point everyone in that direction. And is there any other questions that you think our listeners, our watchers might want to know? I mean, we could always set up another, if there's quite a lot of interest, we can always set up another one of these, interviews and or hangouts to answer some of those questions that people might have. I just want to say thanks. Thank you so much, Dr. Charlie, for hanging out with me and answering a few questions, and hopefully opening people's eyes a little bit to the importance of breath work, that it's not just a subconscious automatic thing, that it can be used as a bit of a hack as well. Obviously, yeah, I just love being with you, Charlie, and I have to be honest, I do really enjoy the breath works. It's a little bit weird and wacky sometimes for me, because I'm a real like straight-laced sort of person, but part of why I think it's really important is to be open and to try things that maybe, you know, you might think is a slightly weird or strange, but sometimes it's good to do that for you. It's really, really good to be versatile and be able to have that ability for your nervous systems, for your life, and for your brain to have that balance, to be able to try new things and not worry about dancing around in front of random like 20 odd people. I wasn't expecting that one. But it's fine, I was only like this tiny on the screen, so that's fine. So thank you again, Dr. Charlie, and thank you all for listening and watching our little interview on breathwork. Bye, Charlie.
Bye.